All right, so we are live on Facebook and we are recording, so really excited. Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek O'Geese with Warrior Scholar Project, and we are so lucky to have Samantha Chapman, the Vice President of Programs for the Sentinels of Freedom. So this info session is going to be a little bit different. I happen to be the alumni for Warrior Scholar Project, and I'm also, fortunately, a Sentinel. So we're going to have a chance to kind of talk. Samantha and I are going to talk about our different programs. I'm going to share my experience with Warrior Scholar Project, as well as my experience of being a Sentinel, and encourage you all to share this information with fellow veterans, and really get the word out about the type of work that we're doing and how we can support student veterans moving forward. So with that, I think what we'll do is, Sam, what I'll do is I will go through my short slideshow presentation and then hand it over to you. You'll be able to introduce yourself and then go through your slides, and then we'll have some conversations from there forward. Sound like a plan?
That sounds great.
Fantastic. Okay. My slideshow is really short, so don't worry about it. Let me find it first.
That's always the trick, right?
Always the trick. Let's see here. Okay. And of course, it wants to do this automatic thing for me. Okay, we got it now. I think I'm good. Share. All right, can anyone see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Warrior Scholar Project is a national nonprofit where we host academic boot camps for enlisted service members, whether you're active duty, National Guard, reservist, any branch of service, it doesn't matter. And our academic boot camps are geared towards individuals who are either in pursuit of their bachelor's degree, thinking about going to college, thinking about going to some type of trade school, any kind of academic journey that you might be on. Our academic boot camps are for you, right? And so we have 1 week intensive academic boot camps in 3 curriculum tracks. The first is humanities, and that is folks who are thinking about English. If you're thinking about psychology, sociology, those types of degrees. I'm a political science major, so humanities is the track that I did, and so it focuses on fundamentals of education, how to be successful in college. How to read, analytical reading. We talk about how to write. You go through a writing workshop throughout the entire week, and we give you the environment for you to develop the skills that you find for yourself that works best for you. Right? We're gonna talk about how to take notes. We're gonna talk about effective studying strategies. We're gonna talk about time management, and we put you in an environment where you can use that week to try out the different things we talk about, to see what works, see what doesn't, just kind of expose you to, there are many different ways on how to do college well. And we just want to expose you to that. We're also going to put you in an environment that replicates the toughest week you could ever imagine in a academic semester. We want to replicate that because we want to show you that, number one, you can do it. And number two, what's possible when you surround yourself with support, because you're going to be extremely supported throughout the week. You're going to have peer mentors. You're going to have your fellow classmates who are going to be going through this week with you, kind of, so to speak, embracing the suck along with you that entire week. And we want to just put you in that intensive environment. So that's Humanities Week, right? And all 3 of the curriculum tracks are all the same. They're intensive. They're designed to be a challenge, but you can do it. Then we have STEM, which focuses on physics and math. And again, we dial in to say, here's the environment, and you develop the skills to be successful. And lastly, our business and entrepreneurship track, where we introduce you to things like finance, marketing, how to evaluate a case study, how to start a business, right? You work with your team in order to start a business at the end of the week, right? Then comes, I think, the toughest part, which is applying, right? Just kind of talk you through the application process for us. You go to our website, warrior-scholar.org/apply. It's a 15-minute application. After that, you receive an email to schedule a phone call with a member of our outreach team. There's a 15-minute conversation, and that's really designed to just get a sense of what your academic goals are. We have over 21 institutions that we've partnered with. The majority of the institutions this year are virtual. We have 6 institutions that are in person on site. The cost for our program is completely free to the veteran. The only cost associated with our program is if you choose to go to an in-person institution, one of our in-person programming, the only cost would be travel to and from the campus. Once you get to campus, we'll take care of everything. We'll feed you, we'll put you in housing, and we'll give you all the course materials necessary for you to complete the course, okay? So you have that 15-minute conversation with someone from outreach, and then they'll talk to you about the different institutions that we're partnered with, and then slot you and place you in one of those programs, right? And so lastly, the last slide is what you can expect for the different programs. Here are the dates for the programs. I will tell you right now that when I say this is an intensive week, it is intensive from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're asking you to dedicate the full week to really, again, trying on what it's like to be a student at a top tier university and what those expectations are. I did community college when I first got out of the military, and that was a good transition for me because community college was a bit slower paced. But once I made that step from community college to a 4-year institution, the expectation, it was night and day. In community college, you kind of started off the semester in a light jog, and then you built up to a good run. In college, you hit day one sprinting. It's a full out sprint. And then you are sprinting until the end of the semester. And it's not until the end of the semester where you get to catch your breath. And so, we want to kind of replicate that for you so that you can see that you're capable of handling that rigor. So I am going to shut up now and hand it over to Samantha, who's going to talk about the Sentinels of Freedom program, which I think is an exceptional program. And then right after she does her presentation, I'll chime in with my experiences of both being a Warrior Scholar Project alum as well as a Sentinel, what I've gotten out of those programs. Samantha, over to you.
Great, thank you, Derek. And it's so wonderful to hear more about Warrior Scholar Project and hopefully to get some of our own Sentinels enrolled in that project or in that program, and also be able to offer it to future Sentinels who join our program. So Sentinels of Freedom, we are also a national nonprofit. Our mission is to serve severely wounded post 9/11 veterans in their efforts to become productive and self-sufficient members of their communities as they transition back into civilian life. We do this through our main program called the Bridge for Education program. And if you want to go to the next slide, I'll kind of talk about our history just briefly of how our CEO, Mike Conklin, kind of came up with the idea and where we are now. So Mike definitely believes that all veterans have earned and deserve a chance to succeed after their military careers. And that's really what we believe in. We want to see the veterans that we serve go on and find meaningful careers that they're passionate about. And we know that sometimes that education is that key point to get there. So we are just supporting them through their educational journey as they get there. Mike Conklin, he is a father of 3 Army Rangers, and he's very proud of that. So if you ever meet him, he'll certainly talk to you about his sons and how amazing they all are. He was inspired to help veterans, and especially the wounded and injured ones, after his son was wounded in Iraq. And he served some time in Walter Reed while he was recovering. And during that time, Mike met other wounded veterans and realized it's great, the care that they're receiving in the hospital, but then what happens once they come home to their communities or wherever they choose to reside after they get out of the service? And he wanted to make sure that they had the support that they needed to then successfully transition and find that meaningful career. So it started with one veteran who was injured, and then from there now we've grown, and we have 365 through our Bridge for Education program that we've assisted, and over through just general assistance and kind of helping with referrals and other things, we have actually worked with over 630 Sentinels. So we definitely have a broad reach, and we're looking to continue to expand that. And currently we have 128 that are actively in our program right now. And so I'll kind of just share next on the next slide, kind of what our Bridge for Education program is and how we can hopefully support additional veterans. So the Bridge for Education program is our main program that we offer. It's a multi-year program. So the veterans that are with us are usually with us anywhere from a year to 4 years. Sometimes if the education takes a little longer, we'll still be there. We may not provide the financial assistance past that 4 years, but the mentoring and networking, which from the feedback that we get is actually the most important part of it. And just that knowing that there's somebody they can turn to ask for assistance or just share the struggles that they're going through, or even the celebrations that occur actually mean a lot more too. So we're there for them while they're in their educational journey. They can find us when they first start and starting off at that community college, or even if they're working on that higher education degree, and if they've already gone on to like a master's or a doctorate, we will consider those supports as well. So initially they receive a housing and living subsidy to kind of offset their costs and allow them to focus on their education. Included in the program, they have financial coaching. So we introduce all of our Sentinels to a financial coach that they can work with. We also have connections with the Dave Ramsey program, and they receive that opportunity to use his financial Peace University and the resources that he has. And then they also get mentoring and networking. So we partner with American corporate partners to assign our veterans a mentor if they're interested in that, or even just within our own network, we find and identify mentors that would be able to help them in their specific field. And then they're paired with a case manager, and that case manager is there with them to check in at least twice a year. And then of course our door is always open. So whenever they reach out or need anything, we're there to kind of just guide them through that transition and make sure it's successful. And if there are things that come up, we can talk about it and find a way to help out. And ultimately, we're there to help them find that meaningful career path. So it is a very personal, prolonged program where we really get to know our Sentinels on a personal level and figure out what it is that they're trying to achieve and how we can help them get there. So that's the program in a nutshell. And then if you go forward one more slide, I'll talk about how you can apply, or actually I guess eligibility first, that's more important. Got to know that you're eligible so you can actually apply. So you do have to be a member of any branch of the armed forces. So that could be active guard or reserves. And you do have to have been wounded or injured in a combat or training related post 9/11 event. That could also be accumulation of your full time of service. So if you served 20 years, obviously there are a lot of events that occur during that time period. So that would also be included. You do have to at least have received a permanent VA disability rating of 50% or higher. And then you have to have at least received or will be receiving an honorable discharge. Some veterans who are currently transitioning may not have actually gone out of the service yet, but they will already be applying. So just by the time you are accepted, you have to at least have that honorable discharge and your VA disability rating before any service can be provided. And then you have to be enrolled or planning to enroll in full-time post-secondary education or a vocational school. So that does have to be VA approved where you can use your GI Bill or your voc rehab. And you have to at least be enrolled or planning to enroll for the semester that the support would start in. Basically, we look for individuals and veterans who are highly motivated. They have the drive to want to reach their goals, both personally as well as educationally, and then also with their careers. And then with the networking and mentoring, we just want you to be active and really engaged in those. So if you make introductions, you're going to respond and have that communication and connect with them. The next slide is about how to apply. So we do have an application website. So you can go to sofapply.smapply.org. We do have 2 application deadlines. So our fall semester one did just end on June 1st, but the one for the spring semester is open. So you have until November 1st to get your applications in. It is pretty in-depth. Like I mentioned, we're a pretty personal program, but I have people who knock it out in a day and others who take a little bit longer, but it's definitely all straightforward, and we're here to help you if you have questions on the application process. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. Any questions, or do you want to share your experience?
Thank you so much, Sam. That was a very great, thorough kind of explanation. And I could share, like, so I'll give kind of my history. So I served in the Army for 11 years, got out in 2015. Like most soldiers, I thought I had a great plan. I'd go to community college, live on the GI Bill until I figured out my next move, until the reality of transition set in and smacked me around a good bit. And then I kind of just went through a really tumultuous time and just trying to figure out, what's going on with me physically, emotionally, mentally. Like I wasn't really, uh, aware of all the challenges that I was going to face. And one of the big challenges was financial. Getting out. I was an E6, and my wife was a teacher, and to go from two salaries to one really fast in the blink of an eye. People, I always laugh. I said, the people say the military doesn't have transition figured out. I said, I think they have transition figured out. What they don't have figured out is reintegration, right? Because they transitioned me from being a soldier making a salary to not in a matter of hours. That wasn't a challenge for them. But I was fortunate enough to come across a veteran community that really kind of gave me some resources and started sharing things with me that I just wasn't aware about. And it was a fellow veteran who told me about Warrior Scholar Project and who told me about Sentinels of Freedom. And I was in my first year at the University of Miami when I heard about both of these programs. And to have Sentinels of Freedom come into my life and to provide that subsidy. I mean, when you talk about alleviating that pressure and concern of the financial burden. I mean, I'm married. I have a house. I have, two children, my wife, a dog, right? So there's that financial piece that you have to be responsible for. And it did, come into play in terms of, my worry, right? Like, am I going to be able to afford and provide for my family just on a GI Bill basic allowance for housing, which barely made it enough. Not to mention, all the financial troubles I had right from transitioning that followed me into my higher education pursuit. So the veteran told me about these programs. I didn't think about it. I just applied. I trusted him, so I applied. And it's funny, Kyle, you just don't know what you don't know and what's going to happen in life. And I applied to these programs, and 2019 was probably like one of the worst years of my life. I had tremendous loss in my family. And the last day of my semester, my brother passed away. He's my only brother, and I'm 8 years older than him, so it was a real hit to my psyche. And I remember going to Warrior Scholar Project later that summer and spending a week on Harvard's campus in a Harvard classroom, pinching myself, saying, I can't believe that a kid who barely graduated from high school, like barely graduated from high school. When I say barely graduated from high school, like if you need a 2.0 to graduate, I was like a 2.0 ish. It's for me to graduate from high school. For someone who tried college, crashed and burned, for someone who is a teenage parent, all these things, stacked up against me, to be sitting in Harvard and to be surrounded by other brilliant veterans and to hear professors talking about and writing notes about something that I said. Like Harvard professors are writing notes and jotting down things that I said about some readings that, I had no business reading. But just blew my mind. It just gave me so much confidence in what I was able to accomplish. Coupled with that, when I got back, I still had a year left to complete my bachelor's degree. And what Sentinels of Freedom allowed, I think was one of the keys to my success. My wife actually quit her job to devote her full time and attention to my well-being. And we wouldn't have been able to make that decision had it not been for the financial support and for the personal support that Sentinels of Freedom offered me. It just speaks volumes, again, to what Sam had mentioned. Just knowing that I had somebody in my corner rooting for me just gave me a lot of confidence in being able for my wife and I to make that decision. And I think without her being on campus with me, making sure that I showed up to class, making sure that I was on top of, my studies, coupled with the skills that I learned from Warrior Scholar Project, how to read effectively, how to write effectively, I don't think I would have had the type of academic year that I had my senior year. I mean, given everything that I was going through, given the kind of mental fog that I was in, and then on top of that, the confidence to say, okay, well, now that my bachelor's is out of the way, what next? What's next for me? Which I never thought was ever going to be something that I would think about. I would never think of, like, growing up, it was like you get a bachelor's degree, you go enter the workforce, and then that's it. To where now it's like, okay, well, law school's next, and then to have a partner with Sentinels of Freedom to say, yeah, like, go for it, do it, right? And to just have that transition, that shift, that transformation in just my mindset, to go from someone who, again, barely graduated high school to now pursuing law school. Again, I'm just completely thankful to these organizations. And Sam's point about a mentor, I remember calling Sam and having our annual conversation, semi-annual conversation, and she's like, are you ready for a mentor? I said, yeah, it'd be great. And she got me in contact with an incredible woman who really gave me a lot of insight, things to think about law school, and about how to pick law school, and how to pick law in general, and what that looks like, and from a career standpoint, which was extremely beneficial. I can't thank her enough for just sharing that time, and having just making that space for me to learn from. And so, Sam, I want to kind of ask you, in regards to, I'm talking about my personal story, but I'm sure you have many stories that you could share. But is there anybody in particular that you kind of makes you proud of terms of, and I know I'm kind of, on a spot to pick one, but I know there's many, but if there's one that comes to mind that kind of talks to kind of that, making that transition, and kind of going through the process that you've seen that growth from where they entered to when they left.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough question, because you're right. There are a lot of them. And I love it because I'll get phone calls from Sentinels and they're like, oh, I'm so-and-so and I'm in the program. And I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. I know your name. And I'm really good at remembering names and like bits and pieces of your stories. And when I get those phone calls, it's like, no, I know you're a Sentinel and I know who you are. And I'm so proud of like whatever they're doing or whatever they're accomplishing. Or so to pick one is not an easy feat at all. But I'll kind of just go off of what I just received today, because it's like fresh and it's right there. And honestly, it was probably one of the top highlights of my day today. So with May having just passed, we have a lot of Sentinels that are graduating and moving on to that next step. And so one of the things that we ask for when Sentinels graduate is just a testimony letter. What was your experience like with us? And what did we do to make you successful or be able to accomplish your goals? So I did get one today that I actually immediately, the first thing I did was share it with our board of directors and our other staff members, just to let them know, like, hey, look at this great work we're doing. And of course, with that, she shared amazing pictures of her on her campus in her cap and gown and with her dogs. And so like seeing those little things, of those little touches of like who you are as a person is, I think, the most impactful thing, because it's not just you, it's you and your family, or you and your pets, because pets are a big part of our lives too. And so to see like them sharing that success with them. So in particular, I guess I'll actually share a name. So Lena Efferman-Kova shared me her personal letter today. And in that, she shared how when she came to Sentinels of Freedom, she was in a relationship, and it wasn't a great relationship with her for her in order to pursue her goals. And it was just not a healthy situation that she was in. And because of our support and our belief in her and the financial support that she was able to go on and live on her own for the first time and find that independence and know that she can do it. And she doesn't need somebody else to carry her and bring her forward, but she had it within herself. So she went on, she graduated from Louisiana State University with her bachelor's in industrial engineering. During that time, she was connected with Procter & Gamble of her own pursuit and her own connections, and completed 2 internships with them. And through those internships, received a job offer. So she's now relocated from Louisiana to West Virginia, and she's off starting, and she already received a promotion before she even started. So just her success in having our belief that like, yes, you can do this, and we're here to cheer you along the way, is truly amazing. Along with that, she shared her struggle with alcoholism and how she's been sober for 18 months now. And just being able to follow that 12-step program and believe in herself that she can do it. And she has those goals set for herself, and she's accomplished them, and she's continuing to accomplish them. And she's going to have a great career moving forward. So that was really meaningful to me, just to know like myself, and also Carol Prell, who was like a big part of her as her case manager, to help her through anything that she needed. So not only and she even mentioned this, we do like an exit survey, and it had just asked like, how was the communication? She's like, the 2 times a year was perfect, but I also knew if I needed anything, I can reach out at any time. And I think that's the biggest thing that we like to preach. Like, our door is always open. Yes, we're going to make you talk to us 2 times a year, but please, whenever there is something that's going on, let us know, because more than likely we can provide support. So yeah, she's one that I'm just extremely proud of right now. But I get those letters all the time, and it's amazing to just see what's happening. Just recently, our CEO got to go to DC, saw Michael Matthews, which is great. And then we also had a Sentinel there who joined, Neil Duncan. And I've been with the organization for almost 7 years. So he actually graduated before I even came on board. But we knew he was in DC, so we extended an invite for him to join us. So I think that just shows like, even after you graduated, many years down the road, we're still going to reach out and say, hey, you're in the town where we're at. Come say hello, come join us for this dinner. And Mike got to reconnect with him after 7 years. I think, yeah, it was like right before I joined that he graduated. So it's a long-term program. I think I like to say like, welcome to the Sentinel family, because that's really is what it is. Like, even after you graduate, we're still going to send an email here and there and ask how you're doing. We're not going to pester you too much, but we just want to know like what's going on in your life. And if there's something that you need help with, let us know, because we want to be able to help. So yeah,
yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. And I think that's I think that's what makes, our organization so great, is because, we have over 1,400 alumni that have gone through our programs. We serve, roughly 300 veterans a summer, and you become part of the family, right? Like, like come back to us. Like, we're not, just a check the block type of thing. It's like, we care about your success. We care about, if the skills that we expose you to, right, aren't working anymore, right, come back to us. Like, let's talk about it. Let's work through some things. For me to be able to work with alumni, and reach out and have conversations of, hey, I'm kind of going through a funk, and how do you handle time management, right, when you're kind of in that funk, and just to be able to have, again, it's like, we want our folks to know that you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
And I think, for a period of time, I really felt like I was alone in my struggle, in my isolation. Like, I was the only one, for whatever reason, I felt like I was the only one that was going through, transition issues. And once I kind of like opened up and was like, hey, I'm really struggling, and welcoming the support, which was a challenge for me, right? The Army.
And you're not alone in that either. I feel like it's a challenge for all of the veterans to say, I need help, but how do I actually ask for that? And it's like, that's what we're here for. We're here to help, but you do have to ask, or else we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think self-advocacy is like the very first thing like I share with every veteran.
Good, because I want to say help.
Right. I always say like there's the 2 H's that are just no-nos in the veteran community. It's hero and help. So those are just the 2 things we try to avoid. But to the point of just knowing that there are folks here available, right? And I think that's the real message we want to get across, is that you're not alone in this, in any part of it. I think there's plenty of folks, in the Army. We're definitely taught, figure it out, right? And so many times I've been told, hey, figure it out. But, in the military does such a good job of resourcing you, right, that you turn and call whoever it is that has the subject matter expert, right? So if there's an issue with, fuel, for example, like you call the S4 shop, you just call supply and like, hey, I'm having a fuel issue, help me out, right? Or it's like, hey, there's something happening with your government credit card. You just call the 8 office and be like, hey, 8, something's wrong with my pay, something's wrong with my finance. And that's how in my mind, it was like, oh, I figured it out, right? I called someone who knew more. But when you get out in the civilian world and you try to go to that same figure it out muscle, you don't know who to call. There is no S1 shop or S3 or somebody to call. And that's why it's important to have, a Sentinel of Freedom in existence and have a Samantha that you can call and be like, Sam, I need to figure this out, but I don't know who to call. I tell you, call Sam, right? Call Warrior Scholar Project. Call me. Like we're here to help.
And if we don't have the answer, we'll figure it out for you.
That's right. We have a bigger Rolodex.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the other thing to kind of add on to that. It's overwhelming. There's so many resources out there that, like, which one do you call? It's not just the shop that you call or the direct contact. So it's nice to have that organization or that person in the organization that you can reach out to. So I think that definitely goes a long way. And I also wanted to say, I know help is a hard word, but we like to think of it as it's a hand up, not a hand out. Like, we're helping you up and you're the one carrying the load. You're the one who has the struggle to work through and the hard work to do. We're just here to encourage you along the way and support you however we can. So, yeah.
That's such a great point. And I think that's a great point for us to kind of end the formal session of this info session. Sam, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing the great work that Sentinels of Freedom is doing. I know I am super proud to call myself a Sentinel, and I'm super thankful to be a Sentinel, because without your support, I don't know how I would have done it. And again, giving me the freedom to ask for help, and then give me the resources to have the help. By having my wife be able to take that time off from work, and it was also it was interesting because she became a teacher because I was in the military. She chose that career because it made sense since I was in the military, because it was flexible. She can move around, whatever the case may be. When I got out of the military, she had a real kind of reckoning with, do I really want to be a teacher? I mean, I did it because it made sense. Does it make sense anymore? And so because of your support, like, she was able not only to take that time to kind of support me and back me up, but it gave her the time and space to really figure out what she wants to do with her life. And so,
great.
Yeah, we can't, I mean, she found a new job and she is super happy, and I'm excited about my next chapter academically and just the ongoing support that Sentinels of Freedom has given to my family, and for Warrior Scholar Project for the support that they continue to give me and giving me the space to give back to my veteran brothers and sisters. It really is just truly, truly special. So with that, I am going to stop the broadcast on Facebook. Please comment. Please share with your networks if you know of a veteran who is thinking about school or doesn't really have a path that they're kind of sure that they want to get on. Have them reach out to us. We'd love to just talk to them and give them some ideas on what's possible for themselves and for their lives. The military is not the best part of their life. The whole future is what they can create of it. And there's so much more waiting for them that really is out there and can be the best part moving forward. So that's what we want to try to open their eyes to. So Sam, thanks so much again for being with us. And looking forward to those comments and those questions and those applications. We want to see them come in.
Yes.
So apply. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great, great evening. Okay.
Awesome. Great job.
Thanks so much. All right. So Frank, Michael, thanks so much for being here with us. And kind of, doing that. I do want to just kind of open it up if you have any questions or anything that we didn't get to cover during the info part.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce Sam to my wife. Hey, Gabby.
Oh.
Yeah, she didn't get a chance to. Nobody really knows her, but this is my wife right here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Great to see you. I hope you guys are having a
Great
good
to see
trip.
you.
That's exciting. You're going somewhere.
Yeah, her brother had drove up from Houston, so we had met him at a truck stop where he's doing work at. So.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in West Virginia right now.
Oh, great. Yeah, we've got a new Sentinel there. So she's just getting settled.
Thank
Yes.
you.
But I mean, like what I want to say is like for me, Sentinels of Freedom, like everything that y'all was pretty much mentioning, everything y'all touched on, like yeah, I've experienced a little bit of all of that. You know, during my transition and when I transitioned out of the military, the world looked completely different. You know, but linking up with Sentinels of Freedom, the first time around, just for me to just to be around a lot of veterans sitting in that ballroom at the Army and Navy Club, it just, I mean, it felt so good and it felt warm and welcome, like I had family. You know, that was one of the good things for me, just to be around other veterans again. You know, and then also the support, the monetary support. We're still in the process of looking for a house, so that money I've been receiving has just been going into a bank, and I can tell you, it's a nice big old fat old check. So I'm planning on saving that for like a down payment on a house when the
Oh, that's
time
great.
comes. You know, so but definitely I enjoy being a Sentinel of Freedom. I enjoy it. Last time we met up just recently with Mike, felt good just to be around other veterans too again. You know, and yeah, I just so grateful and I'm thankful for being a Sentinel of Freedom, and I do have another veteran in mind that's really considering like law school. I've been talking to him for like probably like 2 years, and he's been telling me like he want to go to law school right now, but he don't really know how he's gonna do it. You know, pretty much same situation that I was in, retired out of the military, and just you know really want to go back to school, but working right now and don't have it quite figured out. But this evening, you know, I took some screenshots of the presentation that you and Dark was presenting, and I'm gonna send those images to him and say, hey, you know, give him a call and just talk to him and just let him know what's on your mind. You know, definitely, I can say Sentinels of Freedom has been a big help for me and my family, and yeah, I really appreciate it. Thankful, very thankful for it. So thank you very much, and thank y'all very much for the presentations. Derek, the presentation was good. I can see some help, even though I'm still in school right now and I'm successful. But I can still see some help that I need as far as my writing skills. My writing skills are not like up to par the way I believe they should be. You know, so
Hey, drop that application, and we'd love to see you, Michael. Love to see you at one of our
yeah.
boot camps this summer. Definitely.
Yeah, but that's all I got to say. I mean, yeah.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, safe travels.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do have some questions.
You got it, Frank.
Ask away.
Okay, so Derek, I noticed you sent me the email, I think, to join this thing. Where did you find me?
No, I don't know if you clicked on something or what, Frank. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm the one who set up the Zoom link. So when you
Right.
register, it's my email that you get when you register. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So there's that. I saw the requirements that were listed for this thing. If you already have a bachelor's, does that kind of kick you out of the program? What's the plan there?
Yeah, so if you already have a bachelor's, we do offer a case-by-case basis, right? We've had folks that have done our program even with a bachelor's because it's been some time that they had their bachelor's and now they're thinking about going back for their master's degree. And
Right.
so it'd be nice to have kind of a refresher, right, so to speak, kind of prime your brain again.
Right.
So it is a case-by-case basis. So
Okay.
so if you have a bachelor's now, Frank, I would definitely say that reach out to me and I could get you in contact with our director of outreach, and he'd be able to, you know, to talk to you and give the exception of policy.
Okay. Let's see, another question. So let's say, for example, that I do or do not qualify for this program. Is it possible to just skip to the mentoring phase or the networking and mentoring, or do I have to go to school first?
I'm assuming you're asking that one for Sentinels of Freedom.
And so for our mentoring and networking, that is, you do have to be enrolled to be in our Bridge for Education program. So you would have to be in school for that. But I would definitely, if you're just looking for mentoring, I would highly recommend American Corporate Partners. That is a whole different organization, and they do a formal year-long one-on-one mentoring program.
Okay.
And they also have another website called AdvisorNet, where you can actually just pose questions, and they have mentors that will answer those questions. So
Okay.
if you're really just looking for like mentoring and networking only, ACP is a wonderful program to access that. If you're going to be going down the school route and returning to school, either for a second bachelor's or higher education, like a master's or something else, then I encourage you to apply for us. We do give preference to bachelor's degrees and those that don't have that prior education, but we certainly will consider the higher degrees as well.
Yeah, Frank, what I can do is I'll include the link to ACP because I'll email you when I introduce you to Jesse Tossetti, our director of outreach.
Okay.
So I'll include that ACP website as well for you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because I got my bachelor's in game design, and I did 20 years in the Navy as an intel analyst. Okay, so I was kind of hoping to take those two and go back to work for some sort of military contractor or so, creating scenarios and simulations, because, plus I'm also into all that, strategy and tactics games. I mean, I'll sit there all day and play me some Risk or some Axis and Allies. Okay, the problem is I can't seem to find anybody to freaking hire me. And I'm down here in Orlando, where it's the center of scenarios and simulations, but I can't seem to get anybody to call me back. And I'm just so I've been out of school since August of 19, and nobody's biting at my fishing pole. Just.
Yeah, so Frank, I got you, man. I mean, there's a couple programs, Wounded Warrior Project, the Warrior to Work. If you haven't got linked up with them.
Yeah, I am, but they're no help.
Right. Okay. I would say like to evaluate your resume and stuff, make sure that it's as polished as it can be. But ACP is a good org to get connected. You fill out a kind of an application, so to speak, of what you're looking for, and then they go to the network and they blast it out and they say, hey, is there a mentor in this particular field?
Right.
And then they pair you up. So, and that person, it's not just direct mentorship, but it's also opening to introductions and things of that nature. So I'll definitely get that link over to you, Frank, and
because I know, if I had a job working simulations and scenarios and things like that, my wife would have to call security and tell them to kick me out of the building every night because you couldn't get me to leave. If I had a job like that, you couldn't get me to leave. And I'm like, but I can't even get in the building yet, And so it's just so frustrating. And I have all these skills, I have all these experiences, and I can't find a place to use them and apply them. And it's just so frustrating. And if this is something you guys can, if I have to go back to school and maybe get a little better with my Unity or Unreal Engine, which are kind of the things we use in that game field, that's fine. Maybe that's what I need is a little refresher. Maybe I don't need a whole thing, but something.
I hear you, Frank. I know it can be frustrating. I know it can. But look, like I said, we'll do everything we can to get you squared away. Get you on a path. If coming back through one of our boot camps, if you're thinking about pursuing a master's degree, right? Like Sam's here for you as well to help you with that. All we're trying to do is get you on a path and have you just charge ahead. So
well, see, and that's another thing. The school I graduated from, I'm the first student in 2 years to solve the commencement exercise that they gave. So I actually won a free semester towards my master's.
Oh, wow.
So, so even that would help. But the thing is, I want to make sure that whatever I go into, I'm actually going to be able to get a job doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, no point in getting a master's in accounting if they're not hiring accountants. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously I'm not going into accounting, but my point is, I want to make sure that whatever I get into, I'm going to be able to get a job doing that, you know?
Of course. No, of course. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like I said, Frank, I mean, we're going to wrap up here now, and
Okay.
immediately following this, I'm going to shoot you an email. I'll get you in contact with Jesse Tossetti, our director of outreach. So you can talk to him about maybe coming to one of our boot camps this summer. And then I'll include that link to ACP. So, reach out to them, get a mentor, and start getting exposed to that network. I know Google's also setting up a VNet week. I think they're launching that the 21st to the 24th. So Google's going to be looking for some stuff well. So I'll track down that info as well for you, and I'll put that in the email. So expect the email from you right after this.
Okay.
With some info and some steps for you to take, man. All we can do is help, continue to push forward.
And then at some point, do I get the opportunity to be a mentor to somebody?
So that's yes. So with the ACP program, once you you get hired and stuff like that, you can definitely volunteer to be a mentor to another veteran.
Sure. I mean, if I can get a hand up, then I have no problem reaching back down and helping somebody else up. I mean, that's what we do, right? These are the brothers and the sisters, right?
That's
So,
exactly right. That's exactly right. You
all right.
got it right. All right, man. We're gonna do the best. So, thanks for coming out tonight, Mike. Thanks for coming out. Sam, as always. Till next time, I appreciate it, and everyone have a safe and wonderful evening. Look forward to talking to y'all later.
Bye. Thank you so much, Derek.
Bye. Thanks.